I want to show you three different reflections that we can do with curves. So I've got a curve here, it's a nice quadratic, and I've got the vertex point y equals x minus 2 squared plus 1. First thing is I'm going to do a new curve by putting a minus outside the whole curve. So I'm just going to retype it in with that minus outside. And here is my new curve. Now for those of you, you can see that that curve is actually a reflection in the x-axis, or reflection in y equals 0. So that was when I put a minus here in front of the entire curve. Do it again, but this time I want to put a minus just in front of the x. So I'm going to type the equation in with y equals minus x, and then type the function as usual, minus 2 squared plus 1. And this one has come over here, and this one is a reflection in the line x equals 0, or the y-axis. So when I put it in front of the minus x, it's a reflection in x equals 0, and outside, the minus outside, is in the y-axis. Now, let's go back to the original one here, and what I want to do is I want to think about this being a function with an inverse. So if it's a function with an inverse, it must be a one-to-one function. So I'm going to cut the domain down straight away. So this is a bit of a quadratics lesson. So if I go to the startup here, I can cut the domain down to start it at 2. So the reason I do this is it now becomes a one-to-one function. I'm going to put in the inverse of this function. Now I've already worked the inverse out. If you want to pause it and work out the inverse for yourself, you can do. But the inverse of this function is the square root of x minus 1. And then I need to add 2 to it. Now this is the inverse of the original 1. And it's actually a reflection in a certain line. It's a reflection in y equals x. So you can see how we got this perfect reflection of each point. And further, they always meet right on the line. So we've got these three different reflections. When the minus is in front, it's a reflection in y equals 0. When it's in front of the x only, it's x equals 0. And when we've got the inverse function, it's a reflection in y equals x.